Hi, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of GetUpNGetFit Wellness Coaching Concierge. I'm also a C-suite advisor and investor. And you're listening to How May I Serve You, where I'm constantly on the quest to surround myself with the best coaches while learning how to better serve our executive clientele by asking them, How may I serve you? Today's show is sponsored by Get Up and Get Fit. And Get Up and Get Fit will be providing students with textbooks and school supplies in Cambodia in honor of our guest today, as well as our philanthropic mission to impact at least 50,000 people per year. And today's guest is Lusia, all right? Make sure I pronounce the name right. Moskvicheva. There we go. So, Lusia Moskvicheva, the Happy Life Strategist, is a leadership and career coach, die-hard New Yorker, just like me, proud mom, former rocket scientist, and fashion executive, bookworm, and coffee lover. Her mission is to help people do what they love what they do, and succeed beyond what they thought was possible. Let's go. I always love to speak to other New Yorkers. So, Lucia, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Thomas. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. All right. First off, you get brownie points for being a former New Yorker, number one.
Die hard.
And you love
Die
books
hard.
just like I love books. So I want you to tell us a bit about yourself, right? The 2 minute version. Who are you?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a happiness activist.
Uh-huh.
That's first and foremost. But in terms of kind of a little bit of a history here is just like German Chancellor Angela Merkel, I was on quantum chemistry PhD track, and just like any Russian would, right? So, and quit a year short of finishing my dissertation because I went to US to begin a totally different track. I studied to get my art degree. I studied painting, and at the end pivoted to fashion. And so my very first actual job I had at age of 30.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in fashion, and my fashion was very kind to me. My career was went really fast, and which should be actually a good news for everybody that being older or starting where you're not 21 is actually a serious advantage if you use it right.
True.
So,
Okay.
and I left fashion in 2012 as a senior vice president of design. So I
Nice.
made my full climb and loved every minute of it, but always knew that there will be an age cap eventually for.
Uh-huh.
And I went back to school, which I was planning for a while, and I was planning to do mental health. But after serious research around, I decided to study coaching. So I
Got it.
went back to NYU and studied for a year there, executive and organizational coaching.
Okay.
So
All right. So
that's how I got here.
Lucia, I want to dive a little deeper into your childhood, right?
Hmm.
Where where are you from originally? You mentioned from Russia, right? I want to learn more about who was Lucia at a young age, right? Your childhood. What got you started? So share that with me real quick. I want to live vicariously through you. I want to live through your childhood.
Well, I guess the same that happened to my professional life was happening in my childhood. I grew up in a small town west of Moscow, about 4 hours from Moscow,
Okay.
and tried about everything and anything, you know, playing piano, accordion, do gymnastics, volleyball, uh, running.
There you go.
So you name it, I tried it. So, and eventually I landed in St. Petersburg at age 16, where I started studying chemistry.
Okay, okay. So what got you into chemistry, right? After you experimented with different types of subject, different activities, like piano, you play sports. You are a well-rounded woman. Now you have like all the facets. You both the books, right, and the athletics. That's awesome, right
Well,
there.
playing piano would be overestimation. Uh, but it would be a really long story. It was a pretty accidental landing,
Okay.
but basically because I really, at age 16, one doesn't really know what to do. And you just, and sequence of events landed me at the chemistry department just as well.
Okay.
Again, loved every minute of it. I spent almost 8 years there and loved every minute of it.
Got it. Got it. So what got you into coaching? Because you mentioned all of these things and activities you were involved in and with, right? So what got you into coaching, especially like leadership and career coaching?
Well, as I mentioned, because I loved my job and in fashion and so fiercely, and I really, I would show up on Monday in the morning at 9:00, and next thing I know, it's Friday night and we have to go home. So it was so shocking to me that when I learned that Gallup surveys and Harvard Business Review surveys show us that between 60 and 70% people not just don't like their job, they dislike their job, and even more so, actively not engage, and most of the time actively disengaged. So, and I've decided to change it one person at a time.
There you go. There you go.
So, I really, and that's how my quest started. And then it's took a little pivot to combining it with overall happiness, because we have only one life. We cannot separate it on work and life. So spending more than half of your life on something that you don't like, that was just unacceptable to me.
Yeah, I mean that's basically that's a bit horrible, because you're basically putting yourself in a state. Now, whatever we focus on is going to expand, right? And I guess most people focus on the negative, and they don't understand that we have control over our lives, right? What we consume is up to us. How our perspective on life is up to us,
Absolutely.
And people fail to realize this, and that's the secret sauce right there. It's the secret sauce. And so being a happy life strategist, which is an amazing title, the Happy Life Strategist, it seemed like your goal is to change that mindset. And so with that being said, who do you work with? I mean, do you work with just women? Do you work with just men? Like, who's your target clientele?
Well, I mostly work with like mid-level to C-suite management and executives and entrepreneurs, but also anyone who kind of find their way to me, and we click and decide to create something together. Okay. And why I focused my study and from the beginning on the organizational coaching, in order to work with leaders in bigger companies, because they influence the people who they work with, who work for them. They influence a lot of people. So my idea was that I want to create this butterfly effect, all those proverbial ripples. And I was hoping that working together with leaders and entrepreneurs and other happiness activists and warriors, we can create something more seismic, and really change the nature of work.
And I love it because it all starts from leadership, right? It's like the trickle down effect, right? Once the leader is happy, the employees see that they're happier and they're outgoing, and it's less stress and tension in the workplace, which is extremely important.
And happy people, research after research shows that happy people, content people are much more productive, creative, imaginative.
You're absolutely right. And this is why, like for instance, with me personally, I have the specific routine to keep me focused and keep me in a good place. So I meditate. I go over my to-do list. I even have a not to-do list, right? I stretch, I work out, and I'm always consuming something positive. And whenever I'm consuming something negative, because I'm very in tune with how I feel, because I'm an empath, I realize it and I ease away from it. Whether it's the news or something on social media, I tend to ease away from it because I feel my body reacting to the negativity, right? So we all have control over that. So that's my routine right there. And I'm so happy, I'm so stoked that you are focusing on getting people to newer heights through happiness. So one question, right? What's your, I mean, this is like off script, right? What's your
Was there a script? You should have warned me.
I'm just going off because normally I just go according to how I feel, and I do have some questions that I focus on. But what's your structure, all right? When you're working with an executive, when you're working with somebody in the C-suite, what's your approach to elevating their mindset? How do you approach these individuals? Because these normally C-suite individuals, like people like you and myself, executives, high level performers, we are go-getters, right? We're constantly on the go. We constantly on the go. How do you work with these individuals? What's your secret?
Well, first of all, working with anybody, I'm trying to understand first kind of what makes them tick, what is meaningful and important for them.
Okay.
As leaders, as people, and after that, we kind of also look what problems they know they might have, where they want to get better, what they want to achieve, like basically exploring the now. And then I usually do 360. So I usually interview 6 to 8 people, though sometimes people want to slip some more in. Like sometimes, most recent one at CNN, I did 12 people. And I find out from their bosses if they have one, like C-suite might have 1 or 2 max, and kind of, and their peers. I talk to their peers and I talk to people who report to them. So to get a full picture of their performance.
Got it.
And, I ask, at the end, I almost always ask the question, if you could just whisper to me what you would like to tell that person, but would never dare. I will translate it. I take speech patterns out. I round it up so the person doesn't know who the comment came from before I present it to them. Wow. And together we figure out how to go from there.
So you're basically interviewing people who are closest to them, who are connected to them like directly.
Yeah, basically we call them stakeholders. That. Yes, because they directly connected to performance of that person and the company.
Nice. I like your style. So there are many different types of coaches and coaching styles. How would you describe your style of coaching?
Well, I guess my life pattern, it kind of remains the same. I just like tried a lot of things along the way in my
Yeah.
childhood and through my life. The same happened in coaching. So I poured absolutely countless hours into studying different modalities,
Mm-hmm.
different approaches, and I studied and more than $100,000 in my own just strictly coaching training, and I trained with most amazing people. My absolute favorite, the godfather of coaching, Steve Chandler, most incredible person, incredible coach one can ever meet. Tony Robbins, and virtuoso of coaching who knows and studied absolutely every modality possible, and also with wise and wonderful Pransky duo of three principles. So they're amazing too. So, and from all of them, like knowing all those modalities and being versed and trained in many of them, I create then tailored approach.
Ooh,
That's a
gotcha.
fashion term, no pun is intended,
It's
right?
all
So
good.
very tailored approach, and kind of walk next to the person and pivot as needed,
I love that
because
though.
some
I love
people
that.
more open to something a little crazy, and some people walk the straight line, and having that personal um, education, in both creative. So it kind of, my education, my experience allows me to understand both creative minds and the ones who strictly follow the logic path. So,
I love that. I love the fact that you took the time to do countless research and research and research to provide yourself with all with the tools needed to help your clients, because not every client is the same. So just the
yeah.
fact that you're constantly working on bettering yourself through education, through immersion, I love that, because I'm the same way. I'm constantly reading, consuming podcasts, having interviews, and every time you learn something new, you get the chance to add it to your tool belt.
Yeah, because you can only um, help, guide, or strictly coach people or mentor anything only with the help of tools that resonate with them. You
Yes.
cannot fit as um, so what round
Yeah. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the square hole, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so it basically I pull things from the shelf and put them back if they don't fit, or try this dress on or this pants and see if it fits,
There you
and
go.
if it doesn't, we'll find somebody else. There is always something else.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I said, that's awesome right there. You don't come with one size fit all kind of focus, and because those don't work
No.
for the most part. It might work for one or two persons, right? But for the
Mhm.
majority of the population, it doesn't work for everyone. So continue educating and continue being the bookworm that you are, right? And I'm really really happy to hear this. I'm really really happy to hear this. Because I'm the same way.
That's
All right.
good.
If someone were looking for a coach, right?
Mhm.
What traits would you advise for them to look for?
Well, it's kind of the same way I just described my process. First they should ask people around, the ones that they trust, and if somebody had a coach or would recommend one. And then if, or however many that yields. I would go for sure up to 6 or more. Basically, until you click with somebody. Once you meet a coach who's going to be your coach, you just know it. Your inner wisdom tells you, you know, you just know.
Just know.
I saw Steve Chandler just on YouTube on video, the coach that I kind of owe so much to. And I knew it that I think within like 2 or 3 minutes, I knew I'm going for him.
Okay. Okay. So
And
you went
wrote
with your gut.
just there and then that I would want to
Awesome.
coach with.
Awesome. So you definitely went with your gut feeling. That's good right there. So now let's dive into storytelling time, right?
Okay.
This is like one of my favorite part of the whole podcast because I get to hear more stories. So I want you to give me like a 2 to 3 minute success story where you help to elevate and just transform one of your clients' life, right? So I know you have probably worked with a lot of different clients.
Can
So
we
you are
do
very
two? Um, well, it's actually the craziest one is very, very kind of telling. And because when I do work with clients, so when I start, that's very first conversation, um, often before they even become my clients, when we have just first conversation, I ask, what is that person's dream? And what would they want to achieve if all problems, difficulties, challenges were off the table? What would they want to achieve? And some people do challenge me. And recently, one person challenged me: "What if I'm want to go to the moon? You cannot get everything you want." And by then, I already talked to that person, and I said, "Really? Is that your dream? Because I'm pretty sure it's not. Because if it were, you probably would be able to go." And I said that because I actually had one story in my pocket already. I coached this brilliant young financial analyst that was a few years out of Harvard's applied mathematics department, and he already had stints in Blackstone Group and American Securities, and he was just on the way. His career was already pivoted, but something did not fit well with him, and that's how he ended up on my couch. And we talked about how we go about it and the dreams. It took a while. He journaled a lot. He really dived into it, thought about what make him tick, and he was also a lifelong learner. And most astounding thing happening, he said, I think I want to be an astronaut.
Okay.
So, and because to go to space, you can do 3 ways. You can be a pilot, you can be an engineer, or you can be a scientist. And there is only like few other things. I think you have to be a US citizen, and you have to pass the fitness test. And of course, you have to be chosen as that one scientist that gets on board. And so right now he's doing his PhDs in atmospheric science in the University of Washington. And I have absolutely no doubt he'll become an astronaut.
Wow. Wow. That's over the moon and above.
So yes, so that's
That's awesome right there. Okay. All right. So he was that person that was serious about becoming an astronaut.
yeah, because I believe you are never given a dream that you cannot reach. You just have to be courageous enough to go on it, really deliberate about it, and absolutely tirelessly pursue it.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's funny how it's I mean, as children, we are, when we dream and we tell others about our dream, we are given all the accolades, right? We are congratulated. But as adults, we tend to not dream as much, right? We tend to forget that part of living. And dreaming is so important. You have to dream, you have to have lofty goals in order for you to achieve more, you know?
Oh,
So we
absolutely.
need to get back to that curious child within us, you know? I'm a dreamer. That's my thing right there, you
Well,
know?
and continue the cosmos analogies, right? And to be like a little bit cliche about it, if you shoot for the moon, you land among the stars,
There you
right?
go. There you go. There you go. And that's true. Dreamers are those are the folks who really make the world go round, right? The people that come up with different ideas, different inventions, right? Those are the dreamers. Those are the dreamers. Like the laptop I'm on right now, right? The chair, the bookshelf, all the from dreamers. Right? So we have to continue to dream and then chase it. Dream, then chase it. That's what makes life wonderful.
I agree.
Ooh, let's go. Let's go. This as a rocket science, I need to appreciate these metaphors.
Well, I guess I can apply it to this profession too. One of my first bosses in fashion, Adrienne Vittadini, she used to say, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do what we do, but we have one just in case.
There you go. There you go. So you are very unique. You are a rocket scientist. You are a fashion executive. You listen,
Recovered,
you know,
recovered one.
you are one of the kind. You're the first person with that kind of resume that I've met. So I'm gonna keep my relationship with you, so I can tell people I know a rocket scientist who was once a fashion executive.
Fashion executive.
All right,
Quite a
awesome.
mixed bag.
So next question that I love to ask people, because I'm a very very driven individual. What drives you?
Wow. um, Following Dr. Ruth, kind of one of my heroes, I just want to have a purpose, and to basically to the day I die. When my partner used to tell, when we retire, I'm like, what? I'm not planning to retire. I'm like, what are you talking about? So in a sense, even when I was in fashion and loved every minute of it, I always planned to go into some kind of psychology field. That was an original intent, because I knew that a profession I can do into a very old age.
Gotcha.
Fashion
Okay.
is not one of those. So that's what kind of drives me. And also truly the quest for trying to show people that take their happiness seriously. And it's completely possible if we actually do take it seriously, our own happiness of our loved ones, and everybody who we meet in the way.
Yeah,
So
and it's a rippling effect, like you said before, right? It is
yeah.
a rippling effect. So, are you currently working on any new projects at the moment that you could share with us? Any new books? Any new programs? Talk to me.
Well, I guess psychology is split on this one.
Okay.
Like some say that you're supposed to announce it, and then you kind of have to deliver. Other research says that you better keep it, but I tried to keep it under the wraps and it wasn't working. So I was procrastinating a lot. Me and my best friend, we're writing a book. We think it will be very, very different.
Okay.
So we're not disclosing yet what it is, by both the form and the substance. So, and all the research has been done for a while, and I kind of dragging my feet writing it. So I guess now I have to, I'll try if that works.
Okay. All right. So since you
Telling
announced
it here and now.
exactly. Since you announced it, now we have to keep you accountable. right? So you have to write
Yes.
this book and deliver,
So
right?
Thomas, you will keep me accountable. You'll just check
I
with
will.
me in like 3 months. How we doing here?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's one thing I'm good. I'm good on accountability, and my whole company is focused on accountability. So you're not going nowhere. That book's gonna get done, regardless of how you feel. It's because the world needs it. The world needs your book because you have such an eclectic amount of expertise and experiences. The world needs your book. All right. So it's coming from me. I'm letting
I
you know
do.
right
I
now.
actually do believe so.
There you go. So, if someone were to inquire about your services or just want to connect with you, how can they find you?
They can just tape the Happy Life Strategist in a search, and I come just right up.
The Happy Life Strategist. Okay,
Dot
okay,
com is my website.
okay. The happylifestrategist.com. All right. And you're also on LinkedIn as well and
Yes, I
other
am.
social media platforms.
Hmm.
Awesome, awesome. All right. So this was a no, I love having this conversation with you because in the beginning, all right, you were a bit nervous, but towards the end, I started to share your story. Ooh, you opened up, you started smiling, right? You started to beam, and this is why I have this podcast, right? To really learn more about people, to give them the platform to share who they are, what they're doing, and what differentiates them from everyone else. And you are a very special one. So
Well,
awesome.
and thank you for talking me into it because for others, I kind of stay away from all the invitations, so far from, podcast and radio because I absolutely don't like seeing myself on the screen or hear my voice like many people. So, and I don't know how Thomas talked me into it, but here we are.
That's my little secret. I'm not
I
telling anyone.
know, I know. You're good. You're amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, so right now I just want to thank you, right? Thank you for coming on despite, how you felt and you did such a wonderful job. All right. I'm very, very appreciative of you sharing with us. And last but not least, how may I serve you?
Well, you can keep me accountable for that book.
Okay. Okay.
And and also, thank you for your efforts in all this other work that you do outside of your direct work, like to providing kids with books, meals, and all of that. And I definitely would like to support that through you.
Just by you being on this podcast, you supporting already. Right? So that's awesome. And I would like to thank everyone else or our guests for lending us their ears and their eyeballs. And I would love for everyone to return next week to another episode. And always be kind, show love, and like the happy life strategist says, all right, live a happy life. Much love. We out.
Choose happy and live deliberately.
There we go. There we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye bye.